Former President Jacob Zuma will not be going back to jail, thanks to the special remission process. Here's what you need to know about Zuma and the one place he dislikes: prison. On Friday morning, Correctional Services Minister Ronald Lamola held a media briefing in Pretoria announcing that Zuma will not be returning to prison. Lamola announced that Zuma has been granted a remission of his sentence, adding that he's one of thousands of inmates granted special remission to alleviate overcrowding in prisons. Legal expert Dan Mafura explains the special remission process and the role of the Department of Correctional Services.
It wasn't the Department of Correctional Services that granted this special remission. It was the president, right? So what the role of the Department of Correctional Service here, especially or particularly in relation to Mr. Zuma, was to determine whether or not he goes to prison to serve the rest of his 15-month sentence, to consider whether the time that he spent out on medical parole, which was found to be unlawful, should count as part of his sentence, his original sentence, right? So there are two different things that happened here.
Last month, the Constitutional Court upheld the Supreme Court of Appeal's ruling that former Correctional Services Commissioner Arthur Fraser's 2021 decision to grant Zuma medical parole just 2 months into his 15-month contempt of court sentence was unlawful. The Apex Court, however, left it to the acting Correctional Services Commissioner, Makgothi Thubagale, to decide if the time Zuma had spent on medical parole should count as time served. Joining the media briefing virtually from Estcourt Prison, Commissioner Thubagale confirmed that Zuma reported to prison at 6 a.m. on Friday and was released by 7 a.m. after the special remission process kicked in. According to reports, the special remission process started on Friday and Zuma has benefited from it because he's a low-risk offender, according to Minister Lamola. Thubagale said that Zuma will not be under a system of parole, but the Department of Correctional Services will keep in contact with Zuma as it does with all other affected inmates.